Hi everyone, my name is May and welcome to This Past Romance. Hi friends, welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel if you're not new here. If you're new here, my name is May and this is my booktube channel where I talk about romance books that I read when I have a chance. If you're new here, you have either found me through an old video because I haven't posted in a while, or you have found me through a live show or something I've done with one of my friends. No matter the case, I'm happy to have you here. This is a safe space. Thanks for joining us. This is not an official comeback video. This is I had a comeback planned for January and then my grandmother died and I still had to get this video done. So there is a comeback coming. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. But today, I don't want to take up a ton of time. So today, we are going to talk about... First, we have to talk about my friends and how wonderful and amazing they are. So, 3 of my friends, all also obsessed with me over Ted Lasso. Maybe not quite to the extreme. It's really all I've watched since I watched it the first time last, late spring. And it's scary. The number of times I have watched it now disturbs even me. So, but Ted Lasso is probably my favorite show. Definitely my favorite show on television right now. Abbott Elementary is a close second. But, it's just so well done. I enjoy it. I love it. It makes me happy. It's my comfort show. Ted's my comfort character. It's a whole thing. So back in November, Sarah McLean's podcast that she does, I don't know her co-host's name, but it's the Fated Mates podcast. They did an episode doing book recommendations for Ted Lasso characters. And I listened to snippets of it. I didn't listen to the whole episode. But essentially, the character in the book does not have to necessarily reflect the character that they're discussing. So the character in the book I'm going to talk about for Ted Lasso doesn't necessarily have to reflect Ted, but kind of reflects where they think his character is going to go. I wholeheartedly disagree. And there may be more behind why they chose the books that they chose. But I do wholeheartedly disagree with their analysis of where the character of Ted is going to go based on this book. And again, there were 6 books there. I don't know why this book was chosen, right? So, that's a preface of itself. Second preface I need to give is that my friends are amazing and wonderful and I love them. So if Stef from Novelty Corner, Bree from In 11 Words, and Izzy from Happy For Now, they're all amazing and wonderful and I love them, and they indulged me when this list came out and it was sent to us in a group chat. And then I approached Izzy, and then we approached Bree and Stef. So I'm so happy to have these wonderful humans to support me and love me and help me with all of these things. And yeah, so thank you guys for doing this. And if you're watching this, thank you for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my books now because I don't want to take up a ton of time. So the first book and the first character I'm going to talk about is Ted.
How do you take your tea?
Well, usually I take it right back to the counter because someone's made a horrible mistake.
I read one book for Ted, and that was A Duke Worth Falling For by Sarah McLean. I did listen to this on audio, and this is a novella. It was part of a Naughty Brits anthology, I believe is what it was called. You can, however, get this book as a novella itself. I got it from Libby. I don't remember which library, though. So this book followed Lila and Max. And one thing I want to preface is if you know anything about Sarah McLean, you know she's known for her historicals. This is a modern royalty romance. It is not a historical romance. So it does take place in current time. And I really enjoyed it. And that kind of drove me to read another Sarah McLean that I'm going to talk about later. So this book follows Lila and Max. And Lila is a disgraced photographer and Max is a duke. But when they meet, Lila has no idea that Max is a duke and she thinks that he's a farmhand, and he doesn't correct her. for a long time. Max, to me, was not very Ted Lasso. One of the main things, and especially the fact that I even remember this enough to talk about it, that made him Lasso-ish, was the fact that he played darts. Otherwise, I really feel like Max was more Roy Kent than Ted Lasso. Now, they may have a different argument, and there may be something I'm missing. But as many times as I've watched Ted Lasso, and trust me, it's a lot. I didn't get Lasso vibes from Max. So if I had made the list, I would have reclassified this book as a Roy Kent book. But I also think you could reclassify most Grumpy Sunshine books as Roy Kent books. So, the next book I want to talk about is the book that I read for Coach Beard.
I hope you choke on a Big Mac.
Good thing these are anonymous.
No, Roy signed that one.
And that's Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner. Meryl Wilsner. My accent makes Meryl a hard name to say. So this was a sapphic age gap romance, and it's between a best friend's mom and a best friend. So Cassie is best friends with Parker, who is Aaron's daughter, and Cassie and Aaron meet at a bar. Aaron doesn't know that Cassie is one of Parker's friends, and Cassie doesn't know that Aaron is Parker's mom. They have a one-night stand, and it's supposed to only be for the night. And then Cassie goes to breakfast with Parker and her mom the next morning. It's very cute. I really enjoyed it. It's one of the first sapphics that I've listened to where there have been dual female narrators, which I really enjoyed. I did listen to this audiobook. There is like a lot more spice in it than I expected. I really enjoyed it. However, this is another one of those, like the Ted book, I'm not 100% sure how we got that this was a Coach Beard book. I'm not mad about it. It was a good book, and I'm so happy that I read it because I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. But I'm not 100% sure because I don't feel like the age difference between Beard and Payne and Jane Payne is that significant. But we don't really know how old Coach Beard is for me to be like, well, it's because there's this big age gap between Beard and Jane. I keep trying to call her by her last name. But I did really enjoy Mistakes Were Made, but again, I don't understand how this is a Beard book. Next book I want to talk about is Burn For You by Alona Andrews. I finished this book today, specifically. And it was different because it was a magic book. And if you know me, I don't really do fantasy. But it was different. Izzy told me I would really enjoy it, and I did really enjoy it. It was a solid 4. But Mad Dog Rogan, I believe that was his name. That was Roy Kent.
I hope he dies of the incurable condition of being a little bitch.
That was Roy. In a thing. Like, I get it. I understand. On this list, that's probably the next couple make the most sense as to where they fall on the list. And like, from the moment you meet, they call him Mad Rogan, the moment you meet him and he starts to like do things and like become part of the story, looking at it and listening to it from a perspective of, okay, this character, one of these characters is supposed to be Roy Kent. You meet him, he does a few things, you're like, it's this guy. This makes sense. I really enjoyed it. Sometimes you have to hit me over the head to get me to understand that your character is like a reflection of another character. In The Love Hypothesis, some people have to be hit over the head to realize that it is a Raylo. It was a Raylo fan fiction that was edited and republished as a non-Raylo fan fiction. I'm usually that person. Not with this book. And this book came out before Ted Lasso ever existed. It might have come out post commercials, but there was no Roy Kent in the commercials. So, I get it. This one, I understand. I get why Burn For You was the Roy Kent book, and I wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree. And the next book was Rebecca Welton's.
I mean, what are you, a character from the fucking Bible?
And that's Bombshell by Sarah McLean. Now, I've tried to read Bombshell several times, and I think the reason that Bombshell worked for me this time versus the several times before is that I've just read a different Sarah McLean and had understood the hype behind her writing, and I understood her a little more. This book, specifically this book series, is one that I want to delve more into. And this book follows Cecily and her sister's best friend, or one of her friends' sister's best friends. I think it's her sister's best friend. Anyway, the point is, it has nothing to do with the relationship and everything to do with the fact that Cecily and Rebecca Welton are very similar characters. They're both strong women helping women. And I think that Rebecca and Keeley have a really good, are a really good example of women helping women friendships. You know, they don't beat each other down. It's nothing like that. They're very, very much friends. And at the end of the day, that's often what's needed. And I feel as though Cecily in Bombshell and Rebecca Welton both toe that line very well, in the sense of, I'm going to help you, but you have to help yourself. But they're both very strong women who, you know, don't feel like they need somebody else. And I really appreciated that, and I really enjoyed it. And I agree, again, that this book is very much a Rebecca Welton book. And the last book I'm going to talk about is Keeley's book.
Blow off some steam and have some wicked sex with your new friend. I'm fucking with you.
And the book that I read for Keeley was Managed by Kristen Callahan. And this book, much like the Rebecca book, much like Burn For You by Alona Andrews, it fit. But not only did the main character fit Keeley, but it fit her relationship with Roy. I thought that their book had a really great Roy Keeley dynamic. Very similar dynamics. Again, one of those things that this book was published in like 2016 and the show didn't come out until 2020. So like, the relationship, it may just be because it's kind of a standard Grumpy Sunshine, but he's British and she is not. So it was slightly different. So Managed follows Sophie and Gabriel. And Sophie gets a job as like a PR manager, a social media manager for this band. And she ends up on a plane. And the company is flying her out first class to London or England or wherever they're at. I think those two things are the same. I don't know. I live in America. I don't know. And she's first class and she's sitting beside this guy, and he is being so hateful because he booked both seats. And he can't figure out why this girl is sitting in the other seat that he booked. He doesn't understand it, and he's very upset. He is like, you know, begging, demanding that they move her, and she just kind of buckles down and doesn't move. And you know, they banter back and forth, and she calls him Sunshine, and it's just really cute. Their banter is adorable. And they like, Gabriel is scared of flying, so she helps him kind of conquer his fear of flights, and she snuggles with him and she talks him through turbulence and like all of these things, and they end up working together. It was adorable and I loved it. I loved every second of it. And like, she had done something really, really horrible unintentionally. Like, she didn't do it. It's explained in the book, and I don't want to spoil it here. Sophie and Gabriel really make me think of Roy and Keely, and I so appreciate that as a big fan of their relationship dynamic. And that's it. Those were the Ted Lasso books that I made it through. Again, life got a little crazy, got a little hectic, unfortunately, while I was working on this project, and it didn't get to be what it needed to be. But you know what? I finished, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm so proud of my friends, and I'm so grateful for them for doing this with me and indulging me. You all are wonderful and amazing, and I love each and every one of you. But that's going to be it for me. You can catch me on live shows. If you're a member of Izzy's channel, I'm typically there on live shows. If you want us to do like a members live, or if you want us to do a live, I know we've done a couple reacting to things. If you have anything you want us to react to, shoot one of us a message somewhere. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at This Past Romance, and we'll see what we can do. But I know we have some members lives coming up. You can also catch me on Bree over at 11 Words Members Live. Stef usually pops on for stuff with us. But you can catch me there if you're not catching me here. If you need a dose of me, I am the bonus content on Izzy's channel all the time. I am the bonus person. So that's gonna be it for me, though. If you love Ted Lasso as much as I do, please note that there have been books in the past that I read because of Ted Lasso where I unironically called soccer football. I live in Kentucky. We don't call it football here. It is soccer. So just know it seeps into your brain if you watch it enough. But if you love Ted Lasso as much as I do, leave a soccer ball emoji in the comments below and tell me who your favorite character is. If you've read any of these books just because you wanted to, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. If you want to talk Ted Lasso, season 3 just dropped. Season 3 episode 1 just dropped. I have thoughts. I have things to say about it, and I will talk to anybody that wants to talk about it for days. So I've rambled enough. That's gonna be it for me, y'all. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. I so appreciate it. I so appreciate you. And until next time, you guys, be good to yourself, take care of yourself, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, everyone.